Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Veloso, and I just wanted to start by showing off my blueprints. The first one I'm going to show off is my interactable interface. The only thing it takes in is the player, and that's all I needed for it. So the first thing I'm going to show off is my coin collectible. This is optional and the player doesn't have to do it, but you walk up to the coin, you press E, and the coin is collected, and your coin counter increases by 1. So to do that, what I did was start with a static mesh of a pile of coins, and upon the event interact being called, it adds coins to the player through this user interface widget overlaid on the player's HUD, basically. So all that does is it casts to the player, and then it receives that variable coins and changes it into text and outputs it. So once you walk over to the coin, you press the E and it picks up the coin. This increases your coin counter by 1. This coin counter is just a simple overlay, and there's a function in the player called add coins, and all that does is set the new amount of coins. It just adds 1 to the amount of coins that the player has. The next thing I'm going to show off is my enemy. I set up an AI so that when you get within their vision cone, they obviously follow the player. They'll chase you down and try to attack you. You can shoot them and kill them, or you could just let them kill you if that's what you're into. So the blueprints for my AI, I have a pawn sensing component on it. That's what gives it the cone, and that's what helps it to be able to sense the player. So on that pawn sensing, we have a sequence set up. We cast to the player to make sure it is the player, and then we move our AI to it. After that, we want to check if the AI's health is equal to or less than 0. And if that Boolean is true, then we want to destroy that actor. And this is the radius that I have set up for it. At first, I had it set up really small, and it didn't really feel right. The AI couldn't see the player far away, so it was kind of tough. The next thing I want to show off in my level is my interactable key. So it works almost the same way as the coins. You press the E button and you collect the key. And for that, all we did was come over here. I set on that event interact. We make sure that the player is, in fact, the actual player, make sure that it's valid. And then we want to add our key to our variable key channels. And once we do that, we can set up so certain keys unlock certain doors. Once we add the key to the key channels, we print a string on the thing that you collected a key onto the screen, and we destroy that key actor. And this is how it works. You pick it up, and you come over to your door, and once you get next to your door, it's again the same as the other interactable items. You press the E key, and if you have the correct key, the door will open. The door was rather simple. It was another interactable item. So again, it starts off with on event interact. And once that on event interact is triggered, again, we want to make sure that our player is valid. Once we do that, we want to make sure the player has the key for the door we're looking for. Once the player has the key, we want to make sure that the door is not open. And if the door is open, then we want to close it. And all closing it does is check the is open boolean to false. And if that bool is false to begin with, it will trigger the open function. The open function sets the is open bool to true, and then it plays the timeline. And it will open the door, make it move from the starting position to the ending position. And this node makes that mesh move. So once we get into this final room, this is our last collectible. This is the necessary collectible to complete the level. And it's just like any other collectible. You walk up to it, you get within a certain distance, and you press the E key. And it collects it. It's very similar to the other interactables. It starts with event on interacted. Again, once it was interacted with, we want to make sure our player is valid. If it is valid, we want to add the statue we just picked up to our statue channel. It's basically like a key channel. That way it lets the game know that we can win. Once we do that, we print the string, you collected a statue, and we destroy the statue actor. The next mechanic I'm going to talk about in my level is I created a lose screen so that when the AI kills you, you can either restart or you can quit. So that was, again, another very simple item to make. It's just a user interface widget, and it has two buttons. On click of the quit button, it will quit the game. And if you click the restart button, the restart button will open the level again from the beginning. So you can, well, restart. So along to go with that lose screen, once you collect that statue and you go to the end of the level, you exit the temple here and you follow this path down towards the river. And if we collected our statue, then things will happen one way. If we didn't, we will get a lose screen. If we did, we get this win screen here. And it's basically a copy of the lose screen, except it's the opposite. It has a restart button and a quit button as well. And it works the same way as the lose screen. When we click the quit button, it will quit the game. When we click the restart button, it will reopen the level at the beginning, technically restarting it. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the trigger to, well, make that happen. It's just a box trigger, that's all it is. And once we get to the beginning here, on event overlapped, we cast to the player, and then we want to check and make sure that the player has the key, which is, in this case, the statue. And if that comes back to be true, we then create the windscreen widget, we add it to our viewport, we unlock the mouse so that we can have access to it, and then we set the game to paused. If it's false, we will do something a little different. We will create the lose screen widget. We will add that to the viewport. Then we will unlock the mouse and also set the game to paused. The next thing I want to show you is my player. So here in my player, I have a bunch of different. I have the has statue function, which checks to see if our array of statues contains a statue, and if it does, it returns a boolean of true. So when we collect a statue, it calls a function to add a unique statue to an array of statues. The same thing for our key. So we call a function has key, and it adds a unique key to the key channel. And the same for the coins. We set the number of coins plus 1, and that resets that variable. Those are all of our different variables for our player. I also created a little health widget for the player to let them know how much health they have. All that does is shows a progress screen of how much health the player has left. I have it set to start at 5, so you get to be able to get hit 5 times. Those are my blueprints and the way I set up this level. Thank you guys for your time.